Letter Sculptures, Part 1. First, you need to come up with 4 sketches. That's 4 different ideas for a letter. When you're drawing your letters, you want to make sure that they're bold, meaning they have thickness to them. One way to do this is to draw your initial letter as you regularly would, and then draw lines around it to create a thickness. When you're done, you will erase your skeleton letter underneath to create your font. Your 4 sketches that you create should all be done on your Creating a Font worksheet. After completing your 4 sketches, you want to choose your strongest font and ask for 2 pieces of final paper. On one of those pieces of final paper, you're going to transfer your strongest font to the paper, making it as large as it can possibly be from top to bottom and side to side. Refer to your initial drawing on your worksheet to ensure that the letter or the font is going to be the same on the final as it was in your initial sketch. Now, remember when I said we want to keep our letters nice and bold and have a thickness to them? That's because the interior structure of our letters are going to be made out of these small cups. So, you're going to want to make sure that every part of the inside of your letter is as wide as the widest part of the cup. You can do this by taking one cup and going around the border of your letter, around the inside, and checking to make sure that that cup is going to fit in between. If not, then just make those slight adjustments so that way the cup can fit inside of your letter. Time to cut. Taking the paper that you drew your letter out onto, go ahead and carefully cut around the edge of the line that you drew. Once you have the outline of your first letter completely cut out, you're going to go through onto your second sheet of paper and trace out that outline onto that second paper. Then carefully go back in and cut out your letter. Now you should have 2 identical letters. If you have any inside parts to your letter, you are going to be asking for a cutting board and an X-Acto knife. One paper at a time, you're going to take your X-Acto knife and go through and trace over the lines for the inside part of your letter. Be sure that when you're using your X-Acto knife, you are taking your time. You don't want to go too fast because then you might end up cutting yourself. As you're working, it's going to be so much easier to turn your paper as you're cutting rather than trying to force your hand to turn. After you have cut out the inside parts of the first letter, go ahead and trace out those shapes inside of your second letter and repeat with your X-Acto knife. When you're all done, you should have 2 identical letters that match up perfectly. Please be sure to write your name on both letters and put them in your folder.